Brothers, sisters, Mrs., Misters, the Dented Cast is coming your way. Dobie Maxwell is my name, along with my partner, Max Bumgardner. We are growing by leaps, bounds, inches, miles, whatever it is. We're putting together a show. We don't know necessarily where we're going, but we know we're going to get there, and it's positive.
We're going to talk about the P word.
I can think of a couple.
Plan.
That's not the one I was
Do
thinking.
you have a plan? We have a plan for this show, and it's 100 episodes. And if it doesn't pass the who gives a shit test after 100 episodes, we're going to move on and do something else. Maybe we'll take some of the things that we learned through working the plan to another project. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But that's what our plan is to do 100 episodes. We got a few to go. Did you have a plan for your life?
I did, and it changed a lot of times, like a lot of people's do, and that's why we're doing this episode. When I was a kid, I was going to be a baseball player. I am left-handed, a left-handed baseball player. I happen to be a pitcher. Is like a good-looking blondie at the bar. She didn't have to buy a drink because some guy's going to buy her a drink because she's a good-looking blondie. Well, a left-handed pitcher in baseball, someone's going to look at you because that's the most coveted position that there is. And age 7, probably 7 or 8, I decided I was going to be a baseball player. And my grandmother, my German grandmother, who knew nothing about sports, said, "You don't think baseball players can make a living, do you? Oh, God, a left-handed pitcher, I only squeeze by at $14 million a year, while the rest of your stupid family mops floors for $5 an hour." And that was the plan. And I didn't make it. I had a tryout with the Kansas City Royals when I was 19 years old. And if you've ever been around sports, it's highly competitive, and they're looking for a piece of meat. I'm 5'9". I'm not going to get any taller. I don't have a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I don't care. I'm never going to have it. I knew how to pitch. I was a good teammate. I loved the game. But I didn't have the physical tools to be a baseball star. I got a second look, but I didn't get signed. Maybe I could have gotten signed, but I never was going to be a star. That was the plan in your head, But you got to have the genetics and the natural ability to go along with your dream, which very few people do in any endeavor. So then you have to change. What was your dream when you were a kid?
I wanted to be morning radio in Chicago because I listened to Larry Lujak.
Sure. Records Landecker.
John Records Landecker.
Fred Winston.
Yeah, all those guys that were on WLS.
Sure.
Growing up in little Wapello, Iowa as a kid. And 89 WLS Chicago. And I was just enthralled, I just was like, wow. And then the music would come on, or a DJ would be, talking about a new song, and I lived through that. And in that moment, I think as a 6-year-old, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Well, last time I checked, you did it. It wasn't at that station, but you did mornings in Chicago because I was sitting 3 feet away from him when you were doing it.
Right. We did. And it was there was a lot of great things about it. A lot of good things, The radio business at that time and even now had changed. And that was that is the major leagues in radio. That's the major leagues.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So you get there and you hope you can stay, all right? You hope you can stay. But we could be bitter about not being able to stay, or in the theme of this show, we could focus on we got to do it. We got to do it.
The point that I think we should make about all this is we did get to do it. We did get to live our dream. It wasn't what we thought it was going to be. Were there good parts? Yes. Part of it was pure hell.
It was a little stressful.
A lot of stress.
Yeah.
And there's no need to get into the details, but it's like, well, you don't plan with this. You picture the person that you want to go out with, maybe marry, have a long-term relationship. Well, they fart, they have problems, they go nuts. And so, well, I didn't picture that part. I focused on a minor part of this plan, but the rest of it came with it, whether I wanted to or not. Like coleslaw with a hamburger. You don't order it; it comes with the meal.
Right.
So I think a lot of dented cans I have found make a plan of something that is going to get them all out of, going to fix all the dents in their can. Run away to the circus, whether it's radio or comedy or a movie star or a rock star, whatever it is. And I think, when that dream gets crushed, it can be devastating to anybody, but especially to a dented can.
It can be. And I think, dream and plan are relatives, but I think they're different. Because I think a plan can circumvent a crushed dream. I think a plan can keep moving forward full steam ahead. Didn't happen at that station in Chicago, but it might happen somewhere else, speaking of my plan, but you also plan to do comedy live. And be a traveling comedian, which you did. And you didn't even talk about that. You talked about baseball, but you didn't talk about being a comic.
Yeah, and turns out comedy, I did have all the tools to be a big leaguer. And I'm not bragging. You know, I teach classes for 25 years of people that want to be comedians in the worst way. They'll bring a stack of videos, and they know everything about it. And I can tell they're on stage in 2 minutes. It's like, you don't have it. And I'm not trying to talk down to you or think I'm better. It's like I can't do it. You know, I don't have the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I don't have it. No matter how much I practice, no matter how much I want it, I don't have that. So, yes, I had the ability to be a comedian, and I wanted to appear on national television. I wanted to be a headliner. That's, if you've never been to a comedy club before, that's the last person that goes on. And I wanted to do radio, too, because I liked radio. So I wanted to be a comedy headliner, be on national TV, and do radio. And I did all those things, and I'm more miserable now than I was before I started because I didn't take time. I didn't plan a life. I plan for that one thing, and I think balance is the key to life. You can be on the radio. You had a family. I wasn't ready to have a family. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying your family life. Nobody's life is perfect, but without a plan, you're done. Even if you get it, it's like, well, what now? I didn't plan for this.
Right. Exactly. I do think you do have to have a plan. I think anyone watching this needs to have a plan. I think especially for dented cans. Have a plan. Well, I don't know what I want to do. Great. That's what 97% of the planet says, okay? So there's that 3% opportunity that you can just go ahead and say, well, actually, I can do this. And then I can take these steps to get to this. And, you know, sometimes people our age are just done. They're just done. Like,
life beats you up a few times. That hurts, man.
And they're just sitting there and they're out of shape.
Waiting to die.
They don't have any relationships to speak of. They're just listening to that soundtrack in their head over and over about how much of a failure they are, and that's lethal. And if you're caught in that loop, you have the power to get out of that loop. You really do. You really do. And it really is, I hate to say this, it is practice, you know, until it becomes regular. So practice it. You can't just, you know, you can practice your way into a commitment, and then you can commit yourself to the practice. You know, seriously. Little steps every day.
I think it has to be little steps every day, because I know people come to me in a comedy class, and they have been on stage 5 times, and what do they think? What about, when do I need a manager?
Yeah.
Well, you're coming to me in kindergarten. You need to finger paint. You need to take a nap and suck your thumb and drink some warm milk and some stale graham crackers.
Yeah.
You're talking about calculus.
Right.
You don't need to be talking about calculus right now. And we talked about this in our show notes, and believe it or not, we do prepare for this. Max more than me, but we do prepare. And it's, you know, where am I going to be a year from now? And I agree with you. It's not, well, not where Max is going to be, where I'm going to be. Think about, do you have an idea what you want to be doing? Well, I'd like to, okay, I'd like to be married. Like, okay, well, have you joined a dating site? Have you done any of that kind of stuff? It's little tiny steps. Well, I wanted to be a comedian. I want to be a baseball player. Well, I practiced for years, and you know what? I gave it a shot. It didn't work out. Comedy, little inch steps. I never gave up, even when I had radio shows. We talked about this off the air. I would get, when we were working in Chicago, I would maybe do a gig in Louisville, Kentucky, or Indianapolis, or Detroit.
Yeah.
I get off the air at 10 o'clock in the morning, drive to Detroit, sleep a couple hours, do the gig, drive back all night, get on the air at 5 o'clock in the morning.
With a bag of McDonald's fish sandwiches. For whatever reason, we would walk in the morning and Dobie'd be like, hey, I'm pounding out his show. It was awesome, but you did do that. Yeah.
Yes, because that was part of the dream, and that was part of the step.
Right.
And I was planning out my comedy, and at the time, the job was miserable because just it was in a lot of ways. And I thought, you know what, I don't have the faith. I liked you guys, but the structure of radio can be just absolutely maddening and insane, and that's the point. Anything that you go for with a dream or play, there's going to be parts that you didn't see. So if you're planning the whole way, inch by inch, it's a cinch. By the yard, everything's hard. I don't know who said that. Was it, you know, the motivational speaker? But it's totally true. What is your plan? Plan your work your plan. Do you have one? Being around you're great at it, and I've learned a lot from you making a plan in my not comedy life, just life in general.
Well, I rely on it. And my plan is to be happy. That's my plan.
Great plan.
Yeah. So
So that we just wanted to do an episode about planning. If you have anything that you want to ask, we're here for you. Subscribe to our channel. We'd appreciate that. Like us, hate us, recommend us to someone you like or don't like. We're going to do this whether or not you're here, but we're glad it's better when you're here. So please join us. We are the Dented Cast.